Just start with today's lecture. So we will start it from the point where we left last time. So I gave you this example to solve. Find the splitting field of this polynomial x raised to power 4 plus 1 over q. So I told you the technique that if you know the roots of the polynomial, so you will be able to find the splitting field. So the roots of this polynomial will turn out to be, if you do the calculation, and which I must hope that you might have done. So you will be getting e raised to power I pi by 4, e raised to power I 3 pi by 4. Let me just write. Because when you will be solving this one, x raised to power 4 is minus 1. So this is actually e raised to power 2k plus 1 I pi, because it should be the odd multiple to make it minus 1. And then it will be 2k plus 1 I pi by 4, where k will take 0, 1, 2, 3, these values. So you will get these as the roots. When you will be substituting k0, you will be getting I pi by 4. K1 will give 3 I pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, and 7 pi by 4. So these are the zeros. Yes. So what should be the splitting field now? So splitting field of this polynomial over q is going to be an extension of q, which should be extended with certain elements. So what should be that element? Yes. Anybody got the
root
answer?
root 2 or I.
Root 2 and I. Yeah, that's correct. Because if you look at e raised to power iota pi by 4, so what is this? Cos pi by 4 plus iota sine pi by 4. So that is 1 by root 2 plus I, 1 by root 2. So if you just somehow introduce e raised to power I pi by 4, then automatically its all powers will be included. So out of these four zeros, we just need to include one of them, and others will be automatically generated because of the properties of the multiplication, ring multiplication. So, and this element is this. So root 2 is also not in rationals, and I is also not included in rationals. So it's sufficient to include root 2 and I. Okay, 1 plus I by root 2. Some people say that we should include 1 plus I, but 1 is already there, so we should be just including this. So their combination is going to generate the root. So this is going to be the splitting field of this polynomial over Q. So let's begin with the next example. Next question, actually, not this is not related with splitting field, but something we have to prove. Prove that Q root 2 root 3 is q root 2 plus root 3. We have to prove this. So what is the difference in the left hand side and the right hand side? So the left hand side is the extension of q containing two elements, root 2 and root 3, and right hand side is the extension field of q containing the element root 2 plus root 3. Now we are saying it is one and the same thing. Q root 2 comma root 3 is same as q root 2 plus root 3. So how we are going to prove that? So if you want to prove equality of two rings as a structure, two algebraic structures, so we or any sets you want to show them equal, so one sided element should belong to the other side element should belong to the other side. So this is the technique which we'll be using. So there is no need of proving the elements of q. These rationals are on both sides. So we will be just be considering root 2, root 3 and root 2 plus root 3. So root 2 and root 3 both belongs to this, because that is the definition. We know the how elements look like. We know this is they are present. So it implies their sum is also present. Agree with this, everybody? If two different elements are there, their sum is also present there, right? So it implies the root 2 plus root 3 can be generated from this. It implies q root 2 root 3 is contained in q root 2 root 3 because all the combinations of root 2 plus root 3, because this as a single element can be generated from individual elements root 2 and root 3. So this is happening, right? Opposite. Now what we want to prove that individually square root 2, square root 3 can be found in Q square root 2 plus square root 3. That their sum is there, but now we want to prove the result that individually root 2 is also there and root 3 is also there. So that means something you have to do to show that root 2 also belongs there, root 3 also belongs there. This is very easy to see. So we know that root 3 plus root 2 is belonging in Q root 2 plus root 3, and root 3 minus root 2 also belongs to this. So somebody needs to give me a reason for this. Root 3 plus root 2 clearly is there, right? So no doubt in that. But how come root 3 minus root 2 is there? Who is going to give me a reason for this? Why this element will belong here? What is the result? Yes, can anybody tell?
माइनस ऑफ रूट टू एडिटिव इनवर्स रूट टू का.
Just a minute. No, but we are not talking about individual root 2. ये रूट 3 माइनस रूट 2 को एक सिंगल एलिमेंट देखो ना, इंडिविजुअली वही तो प्रूव करना है कि इंडिविजुअली भी है वहां पे. तो आप ऐसे बीच में नहीं कंसिडर कर सकते हो. या तो मैंने पूरे का नेगेटिव लिया होता कि स्क्वायर रूट 3 प्लस स्क्वायर रूट 2 भी है और उसका नेगेटिव भी है. That is the logic coming from additive inverse. But this is not additive inverse of this. Then how these two are related? This is not additive inverse of this. So, but what there is a relationship between the two. I'm giving you hint. There is a relationship between these two elements. Root 3 plus root 2 and root 3 minus root 2. If you multiply these, what you will get? Identity, right? And then,
यूनिट्स हैं दोनों.
yes, they are inverses of each other because one of them, because when you see multiply them, you are getting one multiplicative identity, and it's a field. Every element is every non-zero element is definitely going to have its multiplicative inverse. So it is actually root 3 minus root 2 being the multiplicative inverse of root 3 plus root 2 belongs to Q root 3 plus root 2, because this is a field, right? This is a field. This is an extension of Q. This is an extension field of Q, right? So there's multiplicative inverse is there. Now two elements are there. One is root 3 plus root 2. One is root 3 minus root 2. So if you add these two elements, what will happen? This gets cancelled. It gets 2 root 3 belongs to root 2 plus root 3. It implies root 3 belongs to root 2 q root 2 plus root 3 because 2 inverse 1 by 2 belongs to q. So आप obviously अब 2 root 3 है तो वहाँ पे root 3 भी होगा because I can multiply with 1 by 2 because rationals is there. So 1 by 2 also belongs there. So any elements 2 multiplied with each other will definitely belong there. So root 3 आपने show कर दिया is being generated from square root 2 plus square root 3. Similarly, it can be easily shown that square root 2 can also be generated from root 2 plus root 3. It implies q root 2 root 3 is contained in q root 2 plus root 3. So hence proved. हमें equality prove करनी थी. So one-sided we have proved in the first part, and second-sided inclusion has been proved now. So they both are equal. So you will come to know about this kind of result, that why we are interested in proving this when we'll be doing some more definitions and examples. इसका यूजेज आपको बाद में समझ आएगा कि इस तरह की क्यों जरूरत है हमें. कि जब अब एक फील्ड को एक्सटेंड कर रहे हैं फाइनाइटली मेनी एलिमेंट्स से, जैसे यहाँ पे 2 एलिमेंट्स में एक्सटेंड किया, all what I'm trying to know is there a single element with which if I extend the field then I get the same field. So instead of extending the field with two elements root 2 and root 3, it is sufficient to extend the field with one single element root 2 plus root 3. Right now what are these individually? अगर आप इनका proof तो हो गया है, but individually अगर आप इनके characterization देखो इन दोनों fields की, so what is the structure of q root 2 root 3? This is q root 2 root 3. So that means it contains elements like a plus b root 3, where ab belongs to q root 2. This is the way technique which I introduced even in the previous lecture, कि आपको जब भी एक से ज्यादा एलिमेंट से अपेंड किया जा रहा है तो ऐसे ब्रेक कर लेना है कि पहले सिंगल एलिमेंट को अलग कंसिडर करो और फिर उसके एलिमेंट आपके अंडरलाइन फील्ड से होंगे. सो इट इज लाइक के रूट 3. सो के रूट 3 में किस तरह के एलिमेंट होंगे? a प्लस बी रूट 3 वेयर ए बी बिलोंग्स टू के इज क्यू रूट 2. बट अभी हम के की डिटेल्स, अब ए भी क्यू रूट 2 में है और क्यू रूट 2 में किस तरह के एलिमेंट्स होते हैं? अल्फा प्लस बीटा रूट 2 प्लस b will be also like gamma plus delta root 2 into root 3, where all of these alpha beta gamma delta belongs to q. So अगर आप इसको और थोड़ा सिंप्लीफाई करके लिखोगे, what you will get? अल्फा प्लस बीटा रूट 2 प्लस गामा रूट 3 प्लस डेल्टा रूट 6. Okay, this is how the elements of q root 2 comma root 3 looks like, right? Is it clear to everyone? Is it fine? Right, so that is the structure of this, and similarly you can have the structure of the other one, which is q square root 2 plus square root 3. So its structure is alpha plus beta square root 2 plus square root 3, where alpha beta belongs to q. So alpha plus beta root 2 plus beta root 3, alpha beta belongs to q. So they seem to be different. If you look at their structure, they seem to be different, but we have proved above that they are both going to be same. So all the elements which can be generated from the first one can also be generated from the second one, because इसमें आपको भी multiplications नहीं दिख रही हैं. जब आप एक रूट 2 से मल्टीप्लाइड एलिमेंट और रूट 3 से मल्टीप्लाइड एलिमेंट को आपस में मल्टीप्लाई करोगे, रिंग मल्टीप्लिकेशन, तो रूट 6 टाइप के एलिमेंट्स भी generate होंगे, right? So this is the structure and that is the proof for this one. So next, now we are going ahead towards the next definition which we are going to introduce. Just a minute. Just 1 second. Okay, let me just okay, so now we are going to talk about zeros of irreducible polynomial after splitting field. So the topic of splitting field is finished. We know what is splitting field and we know how to find the splitting field of a given polynomial. Now we are going to discuss this field, zeros of irreducible polynomial. So for that we need to know derivative. So I'm not going to give you the definition of derivative. Everybody is already clear about the derivative. So since we are dealing with polynomials, so if you have a polynomial fx, an xn, an minus 1, xn minus 1 plus a naught, then what is f dash x? N an xn minus 1, n minus 1, an minus 1, xn minus 2, and what's going to be the last term? So this is a1x. So the last term is going to be a1. There will be no a naught, right? So f dash x. So if degree of fx is n, so f dash x The derivative of f is also a polynomial with the degree 1 less than that, which is n minus 1. And but it belongs in the same field, right? Both of them belongs to the same field. So polynomial is there, we can easily find its derivative. Now the point is why we have introduced this derivative, because there are certain theorems which are going to tell us some results which connect the polynomial with its derivative. So this is theorem which is basically a criteria for multiple zeros. We'll not do its proof, but I'm just going to tell you the result of this, because based on this result you can do many questions. So the statement is a polynomial fx over a field f has a multiple zero. Multiple zero का क्या मतलब है? That there is a root with multiplicity greater than 1. So all of us are already clear with the term multiplicity, right? So let me just give you an example. So if you have x square plus 4x plus 4. So we know 2 is the root of this polynomial. Sorry, it's minus 4x. X square, say minus 4x plus 4. So 2 is the root of this polynomial with multiplicity 2. So 2 is said to be a multiple 0. So 2 is appearing as a root of this polynomial multiple times. How many times? That is the multiplicity. So this is what we mean by multiple zeros. A polynomial fx over a field f has a multiple 0 in some extension E of f if and only if fx and f dash x have common factor of positive degree in f of x. So if they have a common factor f and f dash, then it is going to be a multiple 0. So let me just again tell you the meaning of multiple 0. So multiple 0 means the 0 or root with multiplicity greater than 1. If multiplicity is 1, then that 0 is called simple 0. Okay. So if there is a root which is appearing only one time for in a polynomial, that is called a simple root. Otherwise it is a multiple root. So उसके बाद multiplicity कितनी भी हो सकती है, 1 से ज़्यादा होगी, 2, 3, whatever, depending upon the degree and the root. But multiple zero और simple zero का आपको पहले definition clear होना चाहिए. Right. So now we are saying, how do you know that a given polynomial is going to have a 0 and that is going to be a 0 with multiplicity greater than 1 if this result is satisfied. So it is if and only if fx and f dash x have common factor of positive degree. So that means actual में जो 0 fx का होगा वही 0 f dash x का भी होगा, then we will say that is going to be the root. So you can take the same example, x square minus 4x plus 4. If you take this as fx, what is f dash x? 2x minus 4. So we know that f of 2 is 0. So 2 is a 0 of fx with multiplicity 2. We know that result already, right? Because I just show you this is equal to x minus 2 whole square. Now what is f dash 2? F dash 2 is also 0. All of you can see. F dash 2 is also 0. So clearly 2 is also a 0 of f dash. So by saying that f dash and f are having a common factor, it is equivalent to say that they are having common 0. कि कुछ कोई 0 अगर ऐसा है वो f का भी 0 है और f dash का भी 0 है, then that 0 is going to be a multiple 0. So this you can test over any example because this is applicable to any general polynomial, any general field. There is no specific field where it will be applicable. It's true for every field. अगर कोई polynomial का root है और उसके derivative का भी root है, तो obviously in the polynomial it's going to be a multiple root. This you can test on many example, and it is a if and only if result. So it can be used both ways. So अब कॉमन फैक्टर का भी आपको यहीं से दिख जाएगा. fx is x minus 2 का square and f dash x is 2 into x minus 2. So what is the common factor? X minus 2. So x minus 2 is clearly common factor of fx and f dash x with positive degree, because it's written in the statement positive degree. So with degree 1. जितना कॉमन फैक्टर की डिग्री होगी उतनी उस रूट की क्या होगी आपके मींस, वो आपको मेन एफेक्ट से दिख जाएगा कि हाउ मेनी टाइम्स द रूट इज अपेयरिंग. Right, so we are not going to do proof of it, although the proof is trivial, but didn't find much relevance. It is just going to be used in the examples to determine if a given polynomial is going to have multiple zeros or not. Right, so let me just give you the next definition in relation with the same. So this is perfect field. So a field is called perfect if f has characteristic 0 or if f has characteristic p and f raised to power p is equal to f. Now what is this f raised to power p? It will be like containing elements a raised to power p where a belongs to f. So that means किस फील्ड को हम परफेक्ट फील्ड बोलते हैं? दो तरह की फील्ड है, या तो वो फील्ड का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ही जीरो हो, so every field of characteristic 0 is a perfect field, right? So this is coming from this definition that every field of characteristic 0 is a perfect field. Yes, can you give examples? Examples of fields of characteristic 0.
Ma'am, integers.
Sorry, integer. Is integer a field? Integers is an integral domain, not a field. There are no multiplicative inverses in integers. Integers is a ring with characteristic 0, but it's not a field.
Rationals, reals.
Yes, rational, reals, complex. These are all fields with characteristic 0, Q, R, and C. So these are all examples of fields of characteristic 0 and therefore they are perfect fields. अब यूजेज क्या है इस डेफिनेशन का वो बाद में आएगा, बट अभी के लिए वी आर जस्ट लुकिंग एट द डेफिनेशन that this is an example of perfect field. Now look at the definition again. It says it is perfect if f has characteristic 0 or if f has characteristic p. So we know the result that the characteristic of a field is either 0 or prime, because we know that there is a result which says the characteristic of an integral domain is either 0 or prime. We know this result is true for integral domain. And since every field is an integral domain, so we know it's true for fields also, that for a field the characteristic is either 0 or prime. Now it is saying if it is 0, then fine, the field is perfect. But if it is non-zero, that means if it is characteristic is p, then we cannot directly say it is a perfect field. We will have to then verify this condition. So for field of characteristic 0, there is no additional condition needs to be verified. But for field of characteristic p, this should happen. F raised to power p should be same as f. And what do you mean by f raised to power p? So this is how they define that you take the elements of f and make them raised to power p. So if it gives you the same field, if the elements do not change, means if as a set these two are equal, then we say the field is a perfect field, right? So now to give you example of second kind of fields. So example of fields with characteristic p and f raised to power p is equal to f. So for this you can have examples zp, right? So this you can first try. I'll give you a general proof, but this you can try for any. So you take Z2. What is Z2? 0, 1. So what is characteristic of Z2? This is 2. So if you take the elements of Z2 and you form Z2 raised to power 2. So it's 0 square, 1 square, which is same as 0 and 1. It is same as Z2. So what we just saw, Z2 raised to power 2 is same as Z2. So this is what we wanted to prove, that the field should be there whose raised to power P is the characteristic should be same. So that means Z2 is a perfect field. Similarly, if you try this for Z3, 0, 1, 2. So I have to now take Z3 cube because I have to raise to power the characteristic. So characteristic I know of Z3 is 3. So this is 0 cube, 1 cube, 2 cube. So this is 0, 1. 2 cube is 8 and 8 modulo 3 is again 2. So this generates the same field Z3. So Z3 is also perfect field. So in general, I'm telling you this ZP, all ZPs, obviously P prime is a perfect field because P prime नहीं है तब तो वो field ही नहीं है. So P prime. Right. So now let's do a formal proof. ये तो हमने example के through दिखा दिया, but there is a theorem which is going to formally prove this result, that every, in fact it is a more general result, every finite field is perfect. Okay. So does there exist a finite field with zero characteristic? Yes. Does there exist a finite field with zero characteristic? I'm asking the question. Anybody knows the answer? Okay, let me ask a general question. Does there exist a finite ring with a zero characteristic? You just forgot all the results. What is the connection between characteristic and finiteness of a ring?
अगर characteristic 0 है तो ring पक्का infinite होगी.
So that's what I'm asking. No? So characteristic 0 implies ring is infinite. So this result is equivalent to that if we have a ring which is finite, then it should have a non-zero characteristic. So this result is true for any ring. I am now specifically asking for field. So field is also ring. For field also this result is true. That since it is finite, it cannot have zero characteristic. So the only possibility for a characteristic of a finite field is P, because there are only two possible characteristics for a field. So since let F be a finite field, it implies characteristic of F is prime P. So let that be a prime characteristic. So we know that according to the definition of perfect, if we want to show it is perfect, so we want to show, what do you want to show? F raised to power P should be equals to F. So for that, let me define a mapping from F to F as phi of x is x raised to power P. So means we are actually doing the same thing which I show you above example Z2 Z3. Z2 में हमने raised to power 2 कर दिया, Z3 के elements को raised to power 3 कर दिया, तो जो भी field का characteristic है हम उनके elements को raised to power P कर देंगे और एक नया set construct करेंगे. So that we are showing through phi. So if you define this mapping phi, So it's very easy to show that phi is a ring homomorphism. You can very easily show phi of x plus y is this x plus y raised to power p, and which will be basically x raised to power p plus y raised to power p, क्योंकि जब इसकी बायनोमियल एक्सपेंशन करोगे तो जितनी भी बीच में टर्म्स आएंगी उन सब में वो p का मल्टीपल्स होंगे. These are the only two terms, rest of the terms are multiples of p, और कैरेक्टरिस्टिक p होने की वजह से ये जीरो हो जाएंगी. So it will be ultimately x raised to power p plus y raised to power p, so which is phi x plus phi phi. So phi of x plus y is phi x plus phi y. So this is the first property of being a ring homomorphism. And what is the second property? Phi of x y So this is, we have just shown phi is a ring homomorphism. So next we compute kernel of phi. Yes. What will be kernel of phi? What will be kernel of phi? Kernel of phi will all those elements whose image is zero. Image is zero means x raised to power p, because that is the phi x. Phi x is x raised to power p. So what are those elements? X raised to power p is zero. So that means we are looking for nilpotent elements, right? Whose sum raised to power is becoming zero. So we know that zero is the only nilpotent element in an integral domain. In field is an integral domain, right? फील्ड में, किसी भी फील्ड में कोई भी ऐसा एलिमेंट नहीं हो सकता है जिसकी कोई रेज टू पावर जीरो हो जाए, नॉन जीरो एलिमेंट. तो ओनली द जीरो एलिमेंट इज देयर whose raised to power any positive number is zero, because zero divisors नहीं होते हैं फील्ड में, right? So this implies x is zero. So this implies कर्नल ऑफ phi में सिर्फ जीरो एलिमेंट ही है. So whenever kernel of phi just contains the zero element, this implies what? Phi is 1 1. Everybody knows this. This we have done in the chapter ring homomorphism. So if kernel of phi just is the zero element, so phi is 1 1. It implies phi is isomorphism. On to prove करने की जरूरत नहीं है, because आपने जो मैप डिफाइन किया है that is from f to f means, and f is finite, right? अब एक आप फाइनाइट सेट से दूसरे फाइनाइट सेट पे ही जा रहे हो और आपने प्रूव कर दिया कि 1 1 मैप है, और ऑब्वियसली क्योंकि वो फाइनाइट है तो दोनों तरफ सेम ही नंबर ऑफ एलिमेंट्स होंगे. Okay, we are defining it from the same set to same set. If they both are finite, the number of elements on both sides is same. So it's 1 1 as well as onto. It implies this is isomorphism. It implies f raised to power p is f, because आप जो भी एलिमेंट को रेज टू पावर p कर रहे हो वो फील्ड में ही आ रहा है. x को x raised to power p कर रहे हो तो दोबारा से फील्ड में ही है. So hence proof. So we wanted to prove that finite field is perfect. So we done. So you can have now examples of fields which are perfect. Every field of characteristic 0 and every finite field of characteristic p. Yes. So what kind of field is there which can be non-perfect? So this is exercise which I'm assigning to you. You find an example of a non-perfect field. So किसमें ढूंढना पड़ेगा आपको ढूंढना पड़ेगा इनफाइनाइट फील्ड में, क्योंकि फाइनाइट तो अभी हमने प्रूव कर दिया कि फाइनाइट तो हमेशा ही परफेक्ट होता है. तो आपको इनफाइनाइट फील्ड ढूंढना पड़ेगा, और इनफाइनाइट फील्ड ढूंढना पड़ेगा कौन से कैरेक्टरिस्टिक का? p कैरेक्टरिस्टिक का, प्राइम का. बिकॉज इनफाइनाइट फील्ड अगर आप जीरो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक का ढूंढोगे वो भी परफेक्ट है, बिकॉज वो डेफिनेशन है. सो यू लुक फॉर दिस फील्ड, इनफाइनाइट फील्ड विद कैरेक्टरिस्टिक प्राइम. उनमें से आपको नॉन परफेक्ट की एग्जांपल मिलेगी. आई एम नॉट सेइंग एवरी इनफाइनाइट फील्ड विद कैरेक्टरिस्टिक प्राइम इज अ नॉन परफेक्ट फील्ड. रिमेंबर दिस, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इट्स समथिंग वी आर सर्चिंग something, but we are not saying every field with this property is going to be non perfect, because ऊपर वाली जो थ्योरम है उसका कॉन्वर्स पे अभी हम कमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं. Okay, so you try to find an example for the same. Now, why we studied this perfect field? Because it has something to do with multiple zeros. So the next theorem connects this perfect zero and the perfect field and the multiple zeros. So this theorem tells us if fx is an irreducible polynomial over a perfect field f, then fx has no multiple zeros. So it's a very strong result that says that if you have an irreducible polynomial over a perfect field f, then it is not going to have multiple zeros. All its zeros, wherever it will be in some extension, zeros kahin pe bhi ho uske. We are not, with these zeros are not telling us the location of the zeros. The location of the zeros वो splitting field or extensions theorems से पता चलता है. But today we are talking about just कि multiple zero है कि नहीं है. कहाँ पे होंगे वो नहीं, we are not talking about that. So this is telling you that if you have an irreducible polynomial over a perfect field, then it has no multiple zeros, right? So it's also a very important result which is used in many examples to determine. Let me see if we, so over reals, if you construct any irreducible polynomial, let's just take the same example, x square plus 1. So you take this over reals. So clearly we know that x square plus 1 is irreducible over r, and r is perfect. It implies x square plus 1 has all सिंपल जीरो, उसके कोई भी मल्टीपल जीरोस नहीं होंगे. तो सिंपल एग्जांपल है, इसके ऑलरेडी हमें रूट्स पता है, बट दिस रिजल्ट विल बी हेल्पफुल फॉर दोज एग्जांपल्स जिन पे अदरवाइज सपोज हमें रूट्स नहीं पता है, बट वी कैन डिटरमाइन at least the multiplicity of their roots, that whenever they will be there, so what kind of roots can be there. Let me just give you another example for the same. For, let me just give you some irreducible polynomial. Right. This was first example. So if I give you this x raised to power 4, x cube, x square plus x plus 1. This is irreducible over q. And q is perfect. Why q is perfect? Because q is a field with characteristic 0. So this implies this polynomial, let me call this gx, has no multiple 0. तो इसके जितने भी zeros होंगे वो simple zeros होंगे. Now can anybody tell me why this is irreducible? You have done irreducibility tests and everything. So why it will be irreducible? From which test?
वो जो उस टाइप के पॉलिनोमियल किए थे, x रेज टू पावर p minus 1 plus x raised to power p minus 2.
Yeah. So basically it's a pth cyclotomic polynomial. So if you have x raised to power 5 minus 1 by x minus 1, with 5 being a prime, ये prime होना चाहिए, मतलब किसी भी general integer के लिए ये polynomial नहीं काम करेगी. So if you take x raised to power some prime minus 1 divided by x minus 1, because 1 is always the root of this kind of polynomial, so you just factor it with 1 x minus 1. So whatever is left, x raised to power 4 plus x cube plus x square plus x plus 1, so this polynomial is irreducible. So ये Eisenstein's criteria से भी हो जाता है और mod p irreducibility test से नहीं होता. So we have done its proof. If not its proof, then we have seen its usage in the chapter. where we know the polynomials are reducible. So you see everything is connected. So you cannot just say like कि जो हमने polynomial rings में पढ़ा था field theory में वो usage नहीं है. Everything is connected. So you need to recall, you need to retain the previous results in order to move ahead. So this perfect field is connected with finding the multiplicities of the zeros. So now let me give you another theorem. This is a result, last result or related to this topic. Means then the next chapter will start. Zeros often irreducible over a splitting field. Let fx be an irreducible polynomial over a field f. ये perfect field के लिए नहीं result. This is for any field, right? So don't mix the two results. And let E be the splitting field of fx over f. Then all zeros of fx in E has same multiplicity. Right? So this result is also very important result. We'll do examples of all these results, right? इसका हम proof नहीं कर रहे हैं because just proofs are using the already proven theorem. So उनको use करके proof तो हो जाता है, but important is we need to know how to use these results in questions. So we'll do questions for the same, and then you will be trying to recall or remember these results, because as such result याद रखना मुश्किल है directly आपके लिए unless or until you see its applicability. So for all these results that we have stated today, we have not done any proof, but we will be using them in the questions. So we'll be taking that up next time, because we need to do at least 3 to 4 examples for the same, and then we'll move to the next chapter. So that's all for today. In case you have any doubt, you can ask. So this last result is telling you that in the splitting field, all zeros will be there. They are going to have same multiplicity. So from yesterday, we already know that in splitting field, all the zeros will be there because the polynomial is going to split there, right? So split into linear factors. So linear factors मिलने का मतलब है वो वहाँ पे उसके roots हो जाएंगे splitting field में. Now we are saying कि उसकी उनकी सबकी multiplicity जो होगी क्या होगी same होगी. जिसको अगर हम mathematically लिखना चाहें, so when that polynomial, yesterday we wrote it like, suppose the polynomial is having degree n. So suppose it has a1, a2, an roots, something like that. So it will split into linear factors in the splitting field E. So now what we are saying is, ठीक है, या तो सबकी मल्टीप्लिसिटी 1 होगी, सभी सिंपल जीरोस होंगे, बट अगर मल्टीपल जीरोस हैं तो उनकी मल्टीप्लिसिटी सेम होगी. देख a1, a2 इन सबकी मल्टीप्लिसिटी सेम होगी. मींस x minus a1, x minus a, let me just denote it by b1, b2 and bk. ये होंगे इन्हीं में से ही, बट a1, a2, an may not be distinct with each other. सपोज किसी पॉलिनोमियल के रूट्स हैं 1, 1, 2, 2, तो उनमें से डिस्टिंक्ट कौन से हैं 1 और 2, राइट? सो 1 की भी मल्टीप्लिसिटी 2 है और 2 की भी मल्टीप्लिसिटी 2 है, तो डिस्टिंक्ट वाले पिक कर लो 1 और 2. तो ये जो b1, b2, bk हैं, these are the distinct roots picked up out of a1, a2, an. तो इनकी पावर्स जो हैं सेम होंगी, n1, 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 right? So they will have the same multiplicity, where you can say these bj's are distinct. Means no bi is same as bj. ये same हो सकते हैं. So it means this is a very strong result, but this happens for irreducible polynomial and obviously in the splitting field, not in any other field. Right. So that's all for today. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.